We're going to practice multiplying fractions by fractions. In your packet, you should have 2 pages that look like this, that have 2 of these on each page. We're going to do 4 problems together. You should have 2 different colors. It could be a pen and a pencil. You need to have a pencil so that you can do the work. But you need 2 different colored writing utensils and a highlighter so that we can highlight the parts where our pieces overlap. Our first problem is going to be 1/4 times 1/3. Well, if you remember what we talked about, we're really taking 1/4 of 1/3. So the fraction that we're going to represent first is going to be this one right here, because it's the part that we have, or it's the fraction that we have, and the 1/4 is the pieces that we're taking of it. So for this problem, green is going to represent my second fraction, so the one we do first, and then pink's going to represent my first one. So we're going to split our box. We're going to do the box, and then we're going to do the bar. So the box we're going to split into thirds. And how much of them do we want? Our numerator tells us we want 1, so we're going to slash one of them. Then we're going to split our box going the other way. We're going to split it into how many pieces? 4. And I want how many of them? 1. So now I'm going to slash it. I'm not going to pay attention to the green now. I'm only going to pay attention to the pink. I want 1 of them, and I'm going to slash it the other way. And then I'm going to take my highlighter to highlight the area where my 2 colors or my 2 markings overlap. How much is this piece right here? It's 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is 1. So my answer would be this equals 1/12. Well, let's check with my math. If I have 1/4 times 1/3, procedure says I multiply straight across. My numerators and my denominators, 1 times 1 is 1, 4 times 3 is 12. I stop and I observe it because it's my final answer. And it's a unit fraction, which means it's in its simplest form, which means this is our championship answer, and that is what's represented on here. Now we're going to do the same problem with a bar. So the first thing we're going to do is model our fraction that we have. We're taking 1/4 of 1/3. So we're going to split this into 3 pieces. And if you remember, I draw these lines long, showing that it's my first fraction. And I want 1 of them, so I'm going to mark off 1 of these pieces. And then I'm going to model the 4th. So I'm going to split each third into 4 pieces. And I'm going to draw these lines not as long as my original line. Split it in half, 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 half. And I want 1/4 of each one of my groups of 4. So I slash the other way, 1, slash the other way, 1, slash the other way. I'm going to get my highlighter. I'm going to highlight where my 2 colors overlap. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces. and I have 1 where both of my colors overlap. So I have 1/12, and I already checked it with my math, and as you can see, I've modeled 1/4 of 1/3 on both my box and my bar, and I've shown that it equals 1/12. And the whole point of a model is to represent the problem. Now we're going to do another one. Our problem for this one is going to be 1/2 times 2/3. And what this really means is 1/2 of 2/3. So I want you to think, which one are we going to represent first? It's going to be this one, because it's the one that we're taking 1/2 of. Which one are we going to represent second? This one. On this one, we're going to start with the box, or the bar first. So I'm going to split my bar into how many pieces? What tells me? My denominator, because it is king. I'm going to split it into 3 pieces. I'm drawing my lines long. And I want how many? My numerator tells us how many? 2. So we're going to slash off 2. Then we're going to split each one of these thirds into halves, 2 pieces, because that's what our denominator tells us. So we're going to draw a line that's not as long as our green one. And then we're going to shade in one of those. So we go 1. And not shade in, slash in, so we can see it. 1. And 1. Now we're going to take our highlighter and highlight the places that our colors overlap. And if we look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 total pieces. Well, how many of them have both the green and the pink in it? There's 2. So we have 2/6 of our bar. 1/2 of 2/3 equals 2/6. But we stop and we observe this because this is our answer. And we know that 2 is even, and 2 can go into any even number. 2 is also what kind of number? It's prime. So we can divide this by 2. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 6 3 times. So it would represent 1/3. And that is true, because if we took this piece and we moved it right here, we'd have 1/3 out of 3. Everybody see that? If I took this piece, moved it right over here, I would have 1/3 out of 1, 2, 3 thirds. Now let's do it with the box. We're going to split our box into how many pieces? 3, because it's the one that we're starting with. And we want 2 of them. Now we're going to split it in half. And we want how many? We want 1/2. So we're going to and then we're going to get out our handy dandy highlighter, and we're going to highlight all the places where our colors overlap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces, and 1, 2 of our 6 where our 2 codes overlap. So we have 2 6 again, but we know we can divide this by 2, and we get 1/3. 1/2 of 2/3, or 1/2 times 2/3, equals 1/3.